All right. So we'll get started now, and those who join late, but we got a lot of folks on already, so this is great. Okay, so first off, I want to make sure that this is for the girls as interactive as possible. So you guys ask questions, I'll call on you, so be ready. I love that most all cameras are on. Just unmute yourself when you want to talk, no problem. Interrupt me whenever you want if you have questions. That's the idea, right? For parents, if you don't have too many questions you can ask, but we want to make it for the girls. But I thought it'd be nice to invite you guys as well, because I want to make sure that you, excuse me, know what you're watching, because I know that it's great to come and watch the games, but it's even better if you know a little bit more of what you're looking at than just the obvious metrics like we got scored on or we scored. Sometimes it's nice to know a little bit more about what we're trying to do, so that way when you see it happening, you can know sometimes why I'm really happy that even if we lost, we played in a way that I was excited about. Sorry, my thing keeps falling on me. Because I am excited with the way that we're starting to play. Oh my gosh, this is not going to stop.
Because you have 3 eyes. 3 states right now, and I can give you
Okay. So if somebody could just mute. Somebody is unmuted.
Michelle, you're supposed to be in this meeting.
Hey, Mitch, can you mute?
what?
I got you. I just muted you. Ooh, that's a lot of power. I wish I could do that in real life. Okay, so what I was originally going to do was just to go over the game and watch the last game. And I know everybody didn't play in it, and that's okay, because the whole point is that it's about the point of going over this game film is not to critique or look at any particular players. It's more about the game and how we're playing. So regardless of who is in at the moment, or who made the move or did the thing or made the decision that we're going to talk about, oops, hey Maddie, if you who, regardless of that, it doesn't make a difference. We can still all learn from it, right? So that's the point. So we'll look at the first half of the last game. But I thought when I was kind of planning this out, I realized we have so many new players that joined us over the summer, and a lot of folks that have come over time, that it might be good to just kind of go over some of our tactics a little bit in a way that you can see on a screen that might be easier for you girls than sometimes on the field. It's not super easy to see. So this is a nice overhead view. So we'll talk about some of that stuff. And then I'll tell you about like my secrets to analyzing a game, and how I decide kind of what changes to make in a game, and maybe you'll be able to start to do that for yourself. Okay, so excuse me. I'll ask you guys, why is it important to be able to analyze a game? Anybody?
Mistakes.
Why? Say again.
See our mistakes.
To be able to see our mistakes? Yep, absolutely. So you're talking about after the fact, right? You're saying if you watch a game on VO, you'll be able to see it after the fact, right?
Yes.
What are other times that we can analyze a game?
I don't know.
How about in the middle of a game? Right? Aren't coaches always analyzing a game? Like we might make a choice to shift a formation or not based on how a game is going, right? So we analyze in the middle of a game as well. And then we can also analyze games. Oops, somebody's coming on, Ayana. We can also analyze games and plan as we enter into a game. So sometimes you might, like I knew the last team that we played, that we had played them a number of times, right? We played that last team like 3 times in a row. So I knew how they played, and it was easier because I knew how to analyze the game to be able to figure out how we could counter some of the stuff that they wanted to do, right? So to be able to plan for a future game, to be able to adjust within a game, and to be able to learn in the past from a past game, right? So those are the kind of main points. Oops, See, somebody keeps joining, sorry. Okay. So, all right. So clues to a game. So the things that we're looking for, whether you're a coach on the sideline, a parent watching, or a player in a game, what are some of the clues that we look for in a game in terms of to understand how a team is trying to play, what they're doing? Does anybody know what, I mean, I've actually written it on the screen here, but what are some of the biggest points? What do we look at? What did Coach Kyle used to ask you when we'd first line up against the team? What did he say to look at? Liv, what did Coach Kyle tell us to look at when we first go out on a field and we see the team across from us and the ball hasn't been kicked off yet? What might we want to look at?
Their formation.
Absolutely, their formation, right? So whether they have 4 defenders or 3 defenders, how many people in the midfield, how many forwards they have, right? That's going to give us a lot of clues. And then the other thing is once the game starts playing, it's kind of how they play, or what's called tactics, okay? So there's 3 kind of times that teams will show you these things. When they're in possession, right? So that means when they have the ball, what formation do they use and how do they play, right? So when they have the ball, maybe do they like to play it really wide? Do they play it centrally? Do they possess it and do lots of small passes, or do they kick it like a high school team long and over the top? There's lots of ways to play the game, and there's lots of positions to play it from. So that's in possession. Second time is when you're on defense. So when they don't have the ball and they're trying to get it back. How, once again, what formation do they use and how do they play, right? So the formation, you might actually change your formation when you don't have the ball. You might drop somebody else back onto defense. Maybe you have 2 strikers normally, but then you don't have it, so you drop this person back into midfield. So you might actually play a different shape. You might also choose to defend differently. Some people defend, like the past few games, we've been defending with a very high line, right? A very high back line. We'll talk about that. Sometimes you want to, if the winger has a ball, you want to push them out and keep them towards the sideline. Some teams want to funnel them into the middle where you've got more help and more players. So there's lots of ways tactically to play when you are on defense. Excuse me. And the last time is when you're in transition. So when you're either going from offense to defense, when you're going from offense to defense, do you immediately try to get the ball back right away, or are you a team that tends to drop, into position? When you're going from defense to offense, what's that transition like? Do you like bloom like a flower and spread wide and have all your wingers get to the sideline to make yourself as big as possible? Or do you do something else? Do you play more centrally? Do you always play through the same player? Right? There's so many clues that you can see when you're watching a game. It's not just following the ball. Right? So there's a lot that's going on in a typical game. So there are 4 things. I have 4 questions that I ask myself whenever I'm watching a game. So let's say we're playing a team, and this is parents, you'll hopefully appreciate this. I don't know where kind of when I developed this method, but it's always been the way that I think about a game. So when I'm watching the game and I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't know, maybe I feel like we're generally getting beat. We can't do what we want to do. We can't seem to keep the ball. We can't score. They're in our half the whole time and we can't get out. There's 4 questions that I ask myself when I'm trying to evaluate a game. The first one is, are we defending? Are we defending to get the ball back? Are we able to get the ball back, right? That's the first question. The first thing you have to be able to do is get the ball, right? You can't win a game very easily if you can't get the ball back. If the answer is no to that, if you can't get the ball back, there's lots of potential reasons why. Maybe it's formations again. They're like, they have too many players in the middle of the field and our formation doesn't work well with that. Maybe they have some crazy good player who's super fast or super skilled on the ball that we need to figure out how to deal with better, right? There's lots of reasons why we might not be able, maybe we just aren't doing well today, like just emotionally and mentally, we didn't come ready to play. We're not starting fast. But first question is, are we defending to get the ball back or no? Second one, Once we've got the ball and these build on each other, are we able to get into the attacking third? Are we able to penetrate with the ball into the attacking third? If the answer is no, why no? Are we not able to connect passes? Are we trying to go over the top too much and nobody on the other end is receiving it well? They're outnumbering us there. What are the reasons? Are we not getting wide enough and opening up so it's too congested? There's lots of reasons, but if we can't get into the attacking third, it's going to be hard to score. The third question I ask myself is, are we creating scoring chances? So now we're defending, getting the ball back. We're getting into the attacking third. Are we creating chances? Are we getting crosses into the box? Are we finding a way to slip through balls through? If they're playing a very high line, have we been able to find a way to play into the space in behind them, right? If not, why not? Do they have some crazy good goalie taking it away from us? Are they defending super well? Are they man marking, zonal marking? There's lots of reasons, but the big question is, are we able to create scoring chances? And then the last one is, if we're able to do all of those first three things, are we able to finish, right? Are we able to score, put the ball in the back of the net? If not, why not, right? So these are the questions I ask myself, and they're like a pyramid. They're like, they build from the bottom up, right? So in general, again, if you can defend and get the ball back, then you have a good basis to be able to start from. But if you can't do that, you'll definitely not be able to penetrate into the attacking third if you can't get the ball back, right? So these just build on each other all the way up like that, right? So that's what makes the most sense. Okay, questions about that? Anyone? No? So this is also why, and parents, for you to know, is also why we focus in our training on various things, right? So for example, one might say, gosh, why don't you guys do more shooting? You should really shoot more. We're not very good at shooting. Well, if shooting is our problem in a game, we're doing pretty well. Meaning that means we're doing pretty well at defending and getting the ball back. We're penetrating quite well, so we can possess the ball great. We can create scoring chances. And the last problem that we have is finishing. If that's where our problems are at U13, we're doing awesome, right? In general, usually the biggest problems are here. Finding ways to get into the attacking third, right? That's where we have to, are we connecting our passes well? Are we making runs well? Are we, that's where we tend to spend the most of our time. But if you notice in this last year, we've been doing a lot of crossing drills, right? We've been doing a lot of, like, Kyle was taking us out onto the field and kind of doing shadow play and walking through, like we were doing a lot of that stuff to try to figure out how to create scoring chances as well. That's what we're working on too. So we tend to kind of like, we spend a lot of time defending, and every single practice, almost every single drill has defenders in it, right? We're working on individual defending, we're working on group defending, right? And this is kind of like where we spend our time, least amount at the top, most amount at the bottom, if that makes sense. Okay, so I talked about getting into the attacking third, but just to step back, I want to make sure that everybody even knows what that is, right? So if we're going from left to right here on this football field, on this pitch, on this soccer field, what is this part of the field called? Maddie, do you know what this part of the field is called? You're muted. Do we know what this?
The attacking third, or the defensive part of the field, depending on which side you're on.
So if we're going from left to right, we're going this direction and we're defending this goal. This is called then what?
The defensive side.
The defensive third. Exactly. This is the defensive third, right? So that's what that's called. Who else is on? Let's see. Alana, what's this called?
The middle, like the center third.
Exactly, the middle third, right? So that's the middle third of the field, okay? And then the part that we were talking about earlier, this is called, obviously then the one that's left is the attacking third. So we're trying to get into the attacking third, right? So when we talk about that question, we're talking, there's a lot of times, there's a lot of play going on here, in a game, and the ball is going back and back and back and back and back and back and wide and back, but it's all here. Usually there's a lot of that, right? So the question is, the better teams are able to get from here or from here up into the attacking third. That's obviously what we're trying to do, right? So we're judging. So that's the thing that I'm looking at. Okay. And if we can't do it, then I need to understand why we can't do it. Okay, just by chance, before we move on from this, how about who's on? Naomi, I don't see your camera, but can you tell me what these are called? Do you know what these yellow areas are called?
They're like the wide part.
The wide part. Do you know what that's? Do you know what the name of it is?
The sides.
Close. Who can help her? Who knows what these are called? These are called the channels. Okay, so this is called playing up the channel. So this outside portion, okay, these are called the channels. Okay, so when we talk about playing in the channels, this is where, when we talk to outside midfielders, right? I know we play on a lot of turf fields, but in generally, you're not a good winger and you're not a good outside midfielder if you don't have a whole lot of white paint on your shoes by the end of the game. That means you were not wide enough, right? Because obviously on a turf field, there's not really white paint there, but like on a grass field, they talk about getting paint on your boots because you want to be really far wide out here when we have the ball and we're attacking. A lot of times we find ourselves playing as an outside mid in here, not even in the channel at all. This is the channel wide of the 18, between the 18, outside edge of the 18 and the sideline. That whole area there is called the channel, and that's where we want to play a lot, as much as possible. Okay. Beyond that, in the middle of the field, there actually are more, these have names too, but we don't need to worry about that today. Okay, so does this look familiar to us? Does this look like a formation that we've seen before?
Yes, it looks like our
Yes.
formation.
Looks like our formation. Okay, first of all, though, I want to make sure, I don't know if you guys know, does everybody know that the positions all have a number? Yes? Who knows? Do you know any of the numbers? G, do you know any of the numbers?
I do.
Okay, tell me some of them.
Okay, so I don't really know the defense, but I know midfield.
Okay.
So the left, wait, I don't know how to explain this. So yeah, that one, that's is that the 10? Wait. All I know is no, wait. Am I the 10 or the 6?
So in our defense, it's hard to know the difference between the 6 and the 8, but the 10 in this offense right here in this formation is very clear. Who can tell me, Liv, can you tell me which one is the 10?
It's the attacking man.
Is center attacking mid?
Center attacking mid, that's this guy, right? It's actually the reason. So every position has a number, right? Now in different formations, sometimes the numbers are a little bit confusing, but in a standard formation, okay, the 10 is the center attacking mid, or the cam. That position is known as the playmaker. It's usually the person, they score a lot of goals, they create a lot of goals, okay? And that's the reason that Pele was number 10, Messi was 10, Maradona was 10, Neymar, when he plays for Brazil, is 10, Marta, probably the best female player in the world, was 10, Carly Lloyd was 10, right? Lindsay Horan now is 10. So the reason that's such a popular number is because historically, before there weren't even numbers on jerseys before. It was just, people didn't have numbers on jerseys. Then when they first put them on the jerseys, they put them based on the position number. So the person who was the playmaker on the field who played in this role wore the number 10. And if they subbed out and subbed back into a different position, they actually changed shirts. So that's how they played way back when. That was like in the 20s. Okay, so, but it's kind of just traditionally still that 10 is kind of an honored number because of that position. Okay, so we know this is the number 10. Do we know what this one is up here, up top? Who knows what this one is? The striker. What's the striker?
11.
No, it's not the 11. Anybody know? Striker is the number 9. Have you ever heard about that, playing the 9? No. Okay. All right. Let me just show you the numbers so we don't take too long with this. Let's see here. Here's the numbers. Everybody knows that there's a lot of goalies wear the number 1 also, right? That's because the goalie's position number is number 1. So they're numbered very oddly and it's hard to remember. Okay. The easiest way to know is it kind of goes from back to front, and then it goes from small numbers to the right. So it goes like fullbacks first, right to left. So it's 2, then 3, and then inside into the center backs, 4 and 5. So 4 being the smaller numbers out to the right. Then it's 6, 8, 10 are the center mids. And then up to the wingers, it's 7, 11. Don't ask me why. And then the 9 is up top. It's just a weird way of numbering it, but that's it. So as you get older, I'm teaching you this now because it actually would be good to start referring to these as numbers. You're playing in the number 9, you're playing in the number 8 position today. It's helpful because it's the language, like we call this position an outside midfielder, okay? But universally around the world, it's the number 7, right? And where that 7 plays, how high or how deep, is based on the formation that you're in, but that's what it's referred to as. Okay, so typically, this is the way that we've been playing with our center midfielders, right? Where Soph and what the Kyle would call, Soph and G, the 6 and 8, or on white we have Maddie plays in that a lot. Who else plays in the center midfield? So we tend to use those as the 2 center midfielders, and we don't have one of them hold or anything. And then we just name specifically the cam. Okay. But what I'd like to do going forward. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Okay. So before I say that, what's our position called? What's our formation called? Who knows? Jaya, do you know what our formation is called? Let me take this little thing off here. Do you know what our formation is called, Jaya?
I'm pretty sure it's like 4-5-1.
Very good. Exactly. Because you have 4 defenders, 5 center midfielders, and 1 forward in this one, right? Okay. So the way, though, that I'd like to start playing our center midfielders is a little bit different. I'd like to rotate them a little bit like this. The reason is, do we see how now it makes us a little bit more attacking than defensive? Does that make sense? We just pushed up an extra player up into this kind of higher part of the field and left just 1 back. We've already got 4 defenders back. We're pretty good defenders on both white and green. We have very strong defenders back here. So I'd like to have the 6 be more specifically, which is called the holding midfielder, right? Or it's called the CDM, the center defensive midfielder. So that's the role of the 6. So this would probably be played on green by like Soph. You typically fall into that role a lot. You tend to drop back to the back line just naturally anyway. On white, who tends to play that? I don't know. Who tends to play in the midfield on white in this spot?
Me and Annie.
Who?
Me and Annie.
Who's me? Sorry, I can't see who's talking.
Naomi.
Is it-
Naomi.
Oh, Naomi. Yes, yes, exactly. Yes, Naomi. I would say that you tend to play the 6 a lot, right? And Annie tends to play, the 8 as a distributor, or maybe Maddie has been playing a lot of 8 too. These kind of tend to be more interchangeable. So we've been trying to make it so that Ella has tried to play cam, Liv is learning it. It's a really hard position to learn. So my thinking is the 6 is a much more natural position because it's easier to defend than to figure out how to, slip balls in through as an attacker. So I think this is a more natural position. Naomi, it's perfect for you and you're right. So, and Soph, I think as well. So we'll have more of the 8 and the 10 be a little bit more interchangeable, and that'll, I think, make things easier for us. Plus, it's a little bit more attacking minded. So now when you look at this, we kind of play. So before we said we were a 4-5-1, right? And that's because we counted all of this at the midfield. Some people, though, you can give 4 numbers for a formation as well to be a little bit more specific. And so this would then be, it still is a 4-5-1, but because we change our shape a little bit, now it's more specifically a 4-1-4-1. Does that make sense? Do you guys see that? Is that clear? Okay. So that's how we will work going forward. But don't we do this? Did you see what just happened there? Don't we tend to move our outside mids pretty high? They tend to get up the field, don't they? And then don't we also tend to push up our fullbacks quite a bit? So who could tell me like what this would be called, this formation? In the video we're going to watch from Sunday, we actually were in this kind of format in formation an awful lot. Who wants to take a chance at reading what this formation might be called? Liv, you look like you want to speak.
Maybe like 1, 2, 1, 4, 3.
Sure. So you named the goalie. So some people do and some people don't. I tend to leave it off because everybody knows there's a 1 there. But yes, so I would say, sure, a 2-1-4-3, or you could call it a 2-5-3, whatever you want. Yep, that's both are correct. Yep. So exactly. So you see how very quickly, just by pushing up, and that's what I was talking about, is how does a team play when they have the ball? Sometimes it's very differently than what you see them line up at the very beginning of a game, right? So we have to constantly be mindful of that. Same thing with ourselves. So we like to be more attacking like that. So, okay, starting back from our base, we're playing like this. So how about, is Sophia Grasso on? I don't know if I saw her joined. Or Carly. Kate, you know, from the other night. Kate, you're on, right? Do you remember me pushing you up like that?
Yes.
You do, right? Do you remember why?
No.
You created opportunities.
Dad, are you giving hints in the background? So there was a couple of reasons why. Somebody give me a reason for why we might want to do this. So Dad just answered, as he said, it helps to create more opportunities because we're pushing more numbers forward. Somebody else give me a reason. Why might we push? If you saw what I just did there, let me go back and I'll show you again so you see the change. Watch I don't know how you see it live on Zoom, but hopefully you can see them moving, right? So what just happened there was, in this particular case, Sam moved up. So Sam was on the left before and Kate was on the right typically, but the 5 moved forward in front of the 4, whomever it is, they interchange, right? So I've done this with Sophia Grasso and Carly too, where I'll ask Soph to step up, right? In the tournament, we did that a lot, and Carly kind of stayed. This is kind of a stopper sweeper sort of a scenario. Some people used to call it that back when I played. But the idea is, yes, sure, it pushes numbers forward, right? So you're going to create more chances. In the game that we played, Kate, how many attackers, how many forwards did they have up top with you? How many people did you have to mark? Do you remember? Was it a lot?
It was like 1 or 2.
It was like 1 or 2. And sometimes it was none. Do you remember? Like we were in their half a lot, and we're going to watch the game. We were in their half a lot. So if you take all of these players and move it up the field and you put us in that half, and so, you know, like as if the number 4 here is on the midfield and everybody's forward, there was a lot of times where there was nobody to mark, or there was one person to mark. And so sometimes, even if you're not trying to like get a goal, so sometimes if you're down a goal, you might push numbers forward to try to go get a goal, right? But the other thing is just, if there's only one person to mark, why were we wasting players having 2 or 3 people defend a single person? If they're not going to push anybody high, then why would we stay there, right? So Unless we're trying to be really conservative for some reason, like we're trying to finish out a game. Okay, so how about this though? So then when we do that, watch what happens next. How about Georgina? Do you ever remember me pushing you up like that? I know you weren't always the number 10, but or who else has played in that position where I've told the midfielder to move up and be a second striker? We've done that a lot, right?
Oh yeah, I remember doing it. We used to do that all last season. And
And especially when we need a goal, right? Especially we're pushing that up. So now we've got numbers in the midfield. We're still back to 3 here in the midfield. We have a couple of strikers now. We don't need numbers at the back for whatever reason. And so maybe Carly or Sammy are super fast and they've got their striker, no problem, contained because they're so fast. Whatever the reasons are, whether we need a goal or whether it's just a numbers thing, that's some things that we can do with our formation. So there's a lot of ways to move things around to try to do different things. Okay, so here's what it looked like the other night. We're in our base formation, right, where we have 4 defenders up the field now. Okay, so obviously we have the ball. Here's the ball. This is from the other night. This is at Georgina's feet, or if it's a white game in the Thanksgiving tournament, this is a ball at Maddie's feet or at Annie's feet. Okay, and we're up the field now. So let's see what's wrong with our shape. Does anybody have a sense of what's wrong with our shape right now? Let me put the defenders in there to show you first. Okay, here's some defenders in there now. So the ball is at, in this case, our number 8's feet. What's wrong with our shape?
we're all being marked. Right?
That's good by them, but that's not wrong with us. So I'm not showing movement here. So you're right. We'd have to be moving to get open. Addie, what's wrong with our shape here?
Like no one, I don't know. It's like
Hmm?
there's no one's like open. No one's open.
Nobody's open.
And,
Okay,
like,
now how about
really-
this? What's the
really like close.
What's the concern? What if our number 8 tries to play the ball into our number 9 like this? Watch this. But it's a bad pass. And now that defender gets it. Kate, what are you worried? Is Sam on the phone? Kate or Sam or Carly? Anybody who plays center back? What are we worried about back here?
The defender getting the ball.
So the defender has the ball. This defender has the ball. Where's the threat to us? Where's the space for them? Where are they going to try to play into?
They're gonna put the
The
ball.
goalie is like far back.
Ah, the goalie is far back. Right now, the threat for us is this space right here. This is the danger zone. If this center back lifts her head and plays that ball over the top with our goalkeeper back on their line like this, this is a really big problem. Let me show you why. I did a lot of little animations of this thing. I was up till 3:30 last night working on this. Watch. So let me build this for you. Watch. This ball over the top is a real problem. Okay? Why? They're starting onside. This person is not offside right now. Although many parents will go offside because they'll look up because they'll be watching the ball. So people will be looking right here because everybody watches the ball. Nobody is looking here except for hopefully the referee linesman who's looking down the line. And that's his only job. So we're looking here. And by the time we look up and see where she's kicking it, this person looks like they're offside by being behind our defender. But they were onside, meaning they were even with our last defender at the time the ball was kicked. So this is a completely fair play. Do we agree with that? Now, who wants to be that goalie? Allie, do you want to be that goalie in this situation? Addie, do you want to be that goalie? We don't want to be that goalie in this situation, right? Now, just quickly here, what do we do? So let's just stop this. Let me pause it for a second. Okay. let's just briefly talk about offside and keeping a line. Right now, these two defenders are doing a good job keeping even with each other. And if the ball were to be played at this moment, is this person onside or offside?
Offsides.
Offside. They are offside at this moment if a ball were to be played. Okay. However, what now? This happened in the tournament. I remember looking up, and I won't name names, but I looked up and I yelled at somebody because we had moved forward, but this person, the number 3, was just slow to get up the field. They were tired. We had been defending really hard back here. We all move up the field, but they stayed back. Okay. And so now, is this person onside or offside?
Onside.
Soph says they're onside. Why? Because they are behind, because this second to last defender, this is the last defender, this is the second to last defender, is behind them. Okay. So this person is right now onside, even though if this is Kate and Sammy, they're looking at each other, they're going, oh, shoot, they're offside. No problem. Because we didn't check and make sure that all our defenders were up. So I talked to Sam a lot, Kate a lot, talking about talking to each other, and the 4 defenders have to be in sync with each other to keep that line so that this doesn't happen. Because if this happens, how about now what happens? Now what happens is the ball gets played in, that ball is a killer ball. Did you see what just happened? This player played the ball in front. That is the killer ball because these guys can't do anything about it. They're chasing from behind. This person who kept them onside is too far to actually help. If you're keeping them onside and you're the center back, well, then you're probably still in position to be able to help, right? But if you're the fullback way over on some side and you keep them on, but then you're too far away to actually help, we're in a world of hurt, right? So we want to make sure that we keep in connection with each other, our back line, so that we keep everybody in front of us, and our goalkeepers need to be brave and play here. Because this right here takes away all of those options. They can't do anything, right? When we play a high goalkeeper like that. Okay, so we have to be brave. And if that ball gets played in like that, if that ball that just went gets played into here, the goalkeeper has to step forward to it, not drop back and turn and run to go try to manage their goalie box. You need to be brave. Allie had a handball the other night on Friday night because she went right at this person and the ball happened to come up and hit her in the hand, but that was okay by me because we stopped that before it happened. We were very brave. Maddie played in goal. Maddie, where are you? I can't see you on here. Maddie, how was it when you played in goal in the tournament for your first time? Where did you play? Can you take yourself off mute? Yeah. Where did you play?
Almost at the midfield.
Maddie was playing like all here. Maddie owned this whole space. I don't think she had to. Did you ever make a save with your hands?
No.
I don't think she did.
Okay.
Maddie played with her feet the whole game, and she played what we call a keeper sweeper, a sweeper keeper, right? She just basically played with her feet up here because she was really brave. And she stayed outside of her box the whole time, and she cleaned everything up, and we played a super high line, and it worked really well. It doesn't always work, but it worked in that situation because we knew who our opponent was. Okay, so let me get moving. So do we agree then that in the last game, for those who were on green and played in our game on Sunday night that we're about to look at, that this was our shape a lot? We were in their half of the field a lot. Is that right? Is Mia on? I don't think Mia's on. Okay. Well, if Mia were on, she will tell you that she was doubled like this a lot. Okay. So one of the reasons, let's talk about numbers up versus numbers down. Okay. That's a really big concept for you to always be asking yourself. We need to ask ourselves as a team, where and when are we numbers up and numbers down? And individually, when we get the ball, where are we numbers up, numbers down? Center midfielders have to be really good at evaluating numbers up, numbers down a lot. What does that mean? Does anybody know what I mean by numbers up, numbers down? Alana, do you know what I mean by numbers up, numbers down? No? Kayla, do you know? No? Abby, anybody want to guess? Okay, look right here. How about in this area? If I ask you this question, are we numbers up or numbers down in this area?
Numbers down,
Why?
because there's more defenders than there are attackers.
Exactly. So it's simple concept. We're numbers down. They have more players than we do in this area. How about out here where Kayla was playing? Kayla, are you numbers up or numbers down? No, you're not numbers down, silly. You're even. It's 1-1, right? It's 1-1. You're even. Ha, tricked you. Kate, are you numbers up or numbers down in the back?
Numbers up.
Your numbers up. Okay, so if we are numbers up anywhere on the field, do we agree that we have to be numbers down somewhere else? Does that make sense? Because they have 10 field players and we have 10 field players, right? Okay, so that's part of the reason why, Kate, that I kept having you push up, okay? Because we were numbers up in a place where I didn't care to be numbers up. Allie was being so brave. She's playing up here. We're basically way up. We're almost in a 3v1 here if any ball comes through. Okay, so where we were numbers down was here. We're in 2v3 or 1v2 over here, and it's really hard to score when your numbers down in the box like that. Okay, so what did we do? We did this. We pushed up, right? So we pushed Kate up, which allowed us to move. Georgina got to play higher. Now, all of a sudden, in this area, look here. So we are numbers even here, numbers even here, numbers even here, even here, even here. Maybe here is a little bit of a 2v1 situation. Here's a 1v1, 1v1, 1v1. So I'd take us being 1v1 all over the field any day. Would you bet on our players over their players? I would. Right? So we want to try to create situations where either we're outmatching them and we have more, or at least where we're even. So that's what we were doing there. So now they then had to adjust, right? So now all of a sudden, because we moved that extra player in, Mia doesn't get doubled anymore. And now we're 1v1. Couple 1v1 situations, you're one skill move away from going to goal, from beating somebody there. Much easier. Does that make sense? Peyton, does that make sense to you? I see you nodding. Good. Okay, so let's watch some VO. Okay, so unfortunately, I got the VO started like the last second. So we have just kicked off. Mia is up top. She played the ball back to Georgina. Let's watch it for a second. And then I want somebody, actually, Georgina, I want you to walk me through what happened here.
Of course.
What do we think?
Okay, so I started off with playing it back, and then wait, did Alana try and play it to Kayla?
I think Alana was just under duress. So Alana did, I think, try to play it. I think she actually might have tried to play it back to you, to be honest. We can watch it again. But what do you think about, do you remember when we were at the last game of the tournament and at halftime, I got kind of roused up. Do you remember in that third game? What did I say in that game? Somebody tell me who was at that last green game.
That we needed to start going to goal or something?
That we need to what?
I need to like attack more?
We need to attack. Do we want to put, what do we think? If I give you these two options, would we prefer to put the ball back to our fullback so that they can be pressured? Or would we like to put the ball into their fullback so we can pressure them? How would we prefer to do that, thinking about a restart? It's our ball to kick off. Would we rather put them under pressure or put ourselves under pressure?
They're under pressure.
That's pretty clear, right? So why would we play the ball back and put poor Alana into the corner here? Now she's trying to get out. We're trying up, miss pass, change of possession. They get it back again. Georgina wins it. She's got no options there. She has to turn. And next thing you know, 30 seconds later, we've got our goalie. We're playing back to our goalie off of our restart. We chose to play an hour and a half and put our own goalie under pressure. Does that make sense for a team that's trying to win a game? Ella, does that make sense to you? I know you're walking around. No, it doesn't, right? So what do we want to do? What can we do instead, Georgina?
Send one of the wide midfielders.
Right. Do we even, I think, hang on, let's go back for a second. Watch this. Watch this. Let me just start from the beginning. Look at Pay. Pay's like off to the races up here. She's like, wait, I thought we were attacking. What the heck? She's ready to go. But we turned around and played it back, right? Pay's off to the races. And she's unmarked. She wants the ball. She's like, feed me, please. Okay, so let us all agree that we will now. So who plays center midfielders? Naomi, Maddie, Annie, Georgina, Soph, right? When we receive the ball back, we're going to pick a corner. Our outside midfielders are going to run. We're going to get up the field and we're going to pin them into their corner. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we have them under pressure. Does that make sense? Yes, I'll agree. Abby, do you agree with that? Is that a good plan? Abby, do you want to get this ball over here in the corner after the restart? Heck no. It's like a hot potato. Keep it away from me. Okay, here we go. Let's keep playing. Let's go look. Allie, do me a favor. When this ball gets played back to you, I'm going to pause it, and I want you to talk to me about your choice that you made. You know what you did here?
I think I was trying to play it over into the
Over to
midfield.
whom?
I think Kayla. I
You
don't
trying to play
really know.
Kayla here?
I don't really know. I kind of forgot.
Okay, so let me play it. I'll remind you.
Oh, I tried to play Mia like over.
Okay, over the top. So are we numbers up or numbers down in the middle of the field?
Numbers down.
We're numbers down. Olivia, how many people are marking you?
Where am I? 2.
2 people are marking you. Is it easy to take on 2 defenders?
No.
No. How about up top? If Kayla got the ball, she's 1v1 with this center back who had just slid away from her because she saw where the ball went. So she was also in a 1v2 situation. So she's numbers down. Mia's in a 1v1. I just don't think, Allie, I think you got a big foot, but you don't quite have that big of a foot to reach her there. So Addie, Callie, Allie, who else plays? We have 4 keepers. Oh, and Soph. I don't think Soph is on. Morel, are you on? So maybe we have other choices besides going big every single time. What's it called? What's the C word when you have pressure on you?
Composure.
Exactly. So if we could have some composure there, Allie, tell me what else you could do besides going big over the top like that.
Play it wide to like the other side of the field.
Whom? Give me a
To,
name.
like, I think it was Ella.
Ella's out there. Yep. So you're saying you could play a wide pass over here for Ella, who's here to run back and get, you're saying?
Well, to her.
Okay, well, right to her. I think that's I'm not sure if there's If you have a clear one, oh, you're saying go big over the top to her, like into this space.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one way. I'm thinking of another option. Who else? Give me another goalkeeper. Addie, what's her other option? Addie, unmute. Yep.
Yeah, to play short to the other
Correct.
defender.
So what number is this? Who can tell me what number this is? Number of a player.
I have no idea.
This is the number 5. Okay. She could play it to the number 5, which is the left center back. Okay. So what happens if this pass gets played here to the number 5, who happens to be Sam that day? What happens then? What does Sam do with it? Sam, are you on the call? I think she is. Kate, Izzy, you play in that role. Fill in for her. If you received this pass here with not much pressure on your back, what would you want to do with it?
Like go around and try to get the whoever's on the side. This way they could like go on the sideline and try to get up as far as they can.
Okay. So in this case, this is Ella. Ella, what's your number here? What's your player number? Do you remember?
3.
You're the number 3. So the number 5 can play the ball to the number 3. Ella, do you think this is enough space for you to do some damage?
Yes.
Would you have liked to get the ball there?
Because then I would drive and like force the defenders at me, and then I would probably play a pass to Peyton.
Oh man, so you're telling me you would drive like this with the ball, and Peyton's right here. You're right. So what would happen is that if they're a decent defender, her defender is going to leave her, or maybe one of these center midfielders who's going to come off of Mia. They're going to come up and pressure you. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. They're going to come up and pressure you like this. And if it was Mia's defender, Mia's going to be wide open in the middle of the field. And if it was Peyton's defender, Peyton's going to be wide open going down the sideline. Do we think that would be a decent option? Leah, would you like to get a ball like this from Ella driving up the field and your defender, your center back leaves you? Do you think you could do some damage?
Yeah.
I think you could too. So can we all agree that our goalkeepers have more than one decision when the ball is rolling back to them, that maybe they can also play the ball to feet? Does that make sense? Do we see how we could have really done some damage here? And I don't say that, Allie, to make you feel bad, right? Of course, right? I'm just saying we do that a lot. Almost every single time the ball gets, I love that we play the ball back to our goalkeeper. You see that from us way more than you see most of the teams that we play, okay? So it's a maturity that we already even play back to our goalkeeper. That being said, I don't think we do it as well as we could do it. And so that's something I want us to work on. Okay, so that would really, I think, do some serious damage. Okay, let's keep watching. Oh boy, Liv, I'm going to get on you here. Did everybody just see that? Let's just watch that. And I'm not really going to get on Liv. It's not about Liv. Let's pause right here. First of all, somebody Liv, what did we do wrong to this point right here?
She
I
played.
didn't.
What happened?
I tried playing it one touch to Caleb when there was space behind me.
Oh, where's the space?
Behind me.
How would you know that there's space there?
If I check my shoulders.
Oh, if she checked her shoulders, she would know that there was a huge space behind her right here. How many times do I talk to you guys about, and I say, check your shoulders, right? Check your shoulders, check your shoulders, check your shoulders. It's got to be something that this season moving forward, when we start working on our technique and working on our skills, that's something that starts to need to be muscle memory. A ball comes to you and you quick check. Ball comes to you and you quick check. You have to do that. Why? So you can take a quick picture of the field behind you and you know what's there. If Liv, if you knew that that space was there at the time you got this, what would you have done?
Maybe play a through ball to Peyton.
Okay, so Peyton's over here, and Peyton is, by the way, Peyton is very patient. I noticed from watching this video how patient Peyton is. You are in space a lot, young lady. Okay, so Peyton's running here, and Liv is saying that she would play this pass there. What do we think about that? Is that a good idea? I think so. That's a good one. What else could we do? Somebody else. Who else? Like Ella, you've been. Oh, so who else? Who is talking?
I think she could have like sent Mia too.
Okay. So Soph says that Mia's pretty quick, and Mia would love to have the ball in front of her, right there. Is that what you're saying? Soph, yes?
Yeah.
Kayla, what's your thought? Kayla,
Yeah?
what's your thought?
What do you mean?
Would you like the ball or no?
Well, yeah, but it's like a weird angle.
Okay, so it's not a perfect angle for you. Where would you prefer to have the ball? Would you like it at your feet here?
No.
So you have to beat her 1v1? Or do you think that you're faster without the ball?
Without the ball.
You're faster without the ball. Who isn't, right? So where would you like, so if you were then running, you would be running here. Where would you like to have the ball? Like, give me like yard lines. Would you like it at the 40-yard line? Would you like that at the 40, 35, the 30?
The 35.
The 35. So you'd like to get the ball right there, and you'd like to have this pass right there.
Yeah.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you could do some damage?
Yeah.
I agree. Now, Ella had an idea before. Ella talked about, when we were talking about her coming up the left side, that she would like to drive at a player to get them to do what? Ella, what did you say again?
So like pressure me.
So you want them to drive at you to pressure you so that you could do what?
So that I could play like a pass to Peyton or Mia or whoever's defender is leaving them to come at me.
So you're saying if you were Liv and you had hindsight like this, you would drive at this player and then force her to make a decision and commit to you or not. And then from there, you would make a pass like into space for Mia to run onto or for Kayla to run onto. Yes?
Yeah.
Or even for Pay, who we've been saying is so patient, for Pay to run onto. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some other options. The other thing you could do, Liv, is we could turn. So right now, it's hard to tell from this still picture, but this girl is actually getting close to you. She's pressuring you a lot, right? Which is part of the reason that you one-touched that. But if you knew you had the space behind you, the other thing you could do here, I'm just giving you options, right? Is that you could turn and drive this way. Because what does that do? Kayla, what do I always tell you? Instead of going straight down the sideline to go where?
Like cut in
To cut in. Why do I tell you to cut in?
so that I can like have a better shot on goal.
Yeah, what's another reason? Who else plays outside mid?
Maybe to have like more space to dribble.
There's space. You're right, but I'm thinking about the defender. Thinking about the defender.
To like cut them off,
Hmm?
to cut off the defender
To cut them off, to put them where? On your,
back.
put them on your back, right? So if Kayla here, let's imagine that she had the ball, and let's imagine that Kayla is like right here with the ball, and she gets one step ahead of this defender. I don't want her to keep going straight. If she's here and she keeps going straight from there and she's that far ahead of the defender, that defender still has a chance. Why? Because eventually she's going to run out of room and she has to turn into goal, and the defender is still in position because they're still inside of her. They're still goal side. If, however, she starts from here, if she goes this way, now this person is behind her. All they can do is run through her backside, which is a foul, or grab her. So Liv, if you were to turn there, this person who is pressuring you a lot is looking at your numbers at that point. Does that make sense, Liv? If you were
Yeah.
able to turn, do you see how she's on your back?
Yeah.
What is she going to do from behind you? She can't do anything but foul you, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to receive that ball and turned, you could still decide what you want to do. You could drive this way. Hopefully, if you did, Mia's going to run here. Why should Mia run this way? If Liv is driving this way, why should Mia run this way? So go ahead. Why should Mia run this way?
They're like not like close together, and then like they're not like bunched up, I guess. So like Mia's defender won't go close to Olivia.
Exactly. She's trying to take a defender away. If Mia goes here, she's going to pull her with her, or she's not. Either this defender goes with Mia to mark and it leaves a ton of space for Liv to drive into, or she doesn't, in which case Mia is now in wide open space by herself, and thank you very much, Liv will make a pass. Make sense? Okay. Let's move on. Any questions about that? So it's not a bad idea to try one touching, okay? It's not a bad idea. But if we look there, let's just go back really quickly. If we look there, we don't really have any like numbers advantage. We're just playing the ball here. It's a 1v1, it's okay. It's kind of a 2v1 if this person steps up. We're numbers down, this person's coming. We have better options and we have a lot more space the other way. Okay, so we're just going to be, hindsight is 2020. It's very easy. Easy to sit here and look at this video. For me, after the fact, much harder to be the one playing in it. Let's keep watching here. A throw-in is going to come up for Alana, and I want to talk about a throw-in situation. Oh, you know what I wanted to do really quickly? Let's just talk about that because I forgot to go over to that point. When we get the ball, so some questions that Liv could ask herself, or that any of us could ask ourselves. There's 3 P's. I just came up with this. Okay, there's 3 P's when I get the ball. These are my priorities. Number 1, what's my first priority when I get the ball? If I can do this, what should I do? What's the first thing I should do? Don't worry about the P part of it because it's not obvious.
Look up.
Well, yes, look up. But what I mean in terms of like my next action, my next touch of the ball should be an attempt to do what? What am I trying to do ultimately? Why are we starting off on attack? Go ahead, Sophie.
Bring you into space.
Bring you into space is great, but even before that, what's my highest priority? What are we trying to do as a team? Izzy?
To pass the ball. Like to
We
pass
want
the ball,
to
so you have
pass
to get a
first.
goal.
That's what you're saying?
You have to
I don't
pass
want
further
to
to
create
get
a
goal.
team of people who just want to pass. What do we want to do? Maddie, what do you want to do every time you're on the field?
Look for an opportunity to get into the attacking third.
Before that,
Possess the ball.
no, why do I want to possess the ball first? I don't care about possessing it. What am I trying to
Bring
do?
the
How do
team
we
up the
win?
field.
Huh?
Bring the team up the field.
No, how do we win?
Turning away from the defender.
How do we win?
Score.
Yes. If you can score, you score. That's the top priority. Now, 90% of the time, you're not in a position to score, so it's not an option. But your first choice on the ball, your number one priority is to put the ball in the net. That's it. That's your top priority. Now, again, you're not always in striking distance, right? But the number one priority, if you're within a reasonable distance, is to score. If you cannot score, then what? Then what do we want to do? And I heard some of this before. What's the second priority? If we can't score, and think back to my questions that I asked myself, remember the pyramid? That very top one was finishing, right? What was the next one?
Taking chances like on that.
Creating chances. You're right. That is the second one, but I'm going to call it penetrate. So if we can't score, the first one is P, put it in the net. Okay. The second one is penetrate, get up the field. We want to attack. If we then, and you can attack by dribbling, you can attack by passing. There's a lot of ways to attack, but you want to penetrate. So penetrate up the field. Okay. That's the second priority. If you cannot penetrate, meaning you cannot get up the field, then Georgina, what do we do? What's the third P?
I don't know. That's a good
Can
point.
anyone help? Michelle, I see you on, but you don't, your camera's not on. Or Jaya. What might be another P that doesn't mean scoring and it doesn't mean penetrating, it just means like keeping the ball. What's that one?
Probably passing.
Yep, another word for that is possessing. Okay, so if you can't put it in the net, then you penetrate. If you can't penetrate, then you possess it. But if you get the ball and the first thing that you do is turn around and play it back, when either there was a chance to score or there was a chance to get ourselves up the field, your priorities are messed up. Okay, we don't just possess the ball for the sake of possessing the ball. We possess the ball when there's no way to penetrate. So we possess the ball. Why do we switch the field? Somebody tell me why we switch the field.
Because when we have it on like one side of the field, we don't have like that much space. So when we switch it, we have like a lot of space to like dribble or go like score.
Exactly. So the way that we've been talking, using the language that I've been talking about, if we are numbers down on our side of the field, then we are by definition numbers up on the other side of the field. That means we have free players over there in space waiting for the ball. So that's why we want to switch. Do we switch fast or do we switch slowly? Should we 2 and 3 touch across the back line to get the ball across? No. Why? Because we're trying to catch them off guard. We're trying to go from a situation where we've got fewer numbers than them quickly to a situation on the other side of the field where we have more numbers, right? So that we can take advantage and then so that we can penetrate and we can get up the field. So we don't just want to turn around and keep the ball, play back to Ali when there's an opportunity to either score or to penetrate up the field, right? Those have to be our priorities. You're always asking yourself, can I score? No, can't score. Can I penetrate? Can I get the field? Sure, I can. I can beat this person 1v1. I can play a pass up into space ahead of my outside midfielder. I can do whatever. Or nope, that's not an option. Okay, we see that a lot. We'll see Georgina turn. Okay, then she's got to turn and play it back to somebody. Or we did that earlier when she turned around and played it back to Ali, right? But out of the gate, if we had these priorities in mind, can we score on a restart? Probably not. Okay, but can we penetrate? Yes, we can off of a restart. By restart, I mean a kickoff, right? And so that's why we want to get up the field and not just possess right out of the gate. Does that make sense? Okay, so let me go back. Now let's watch a throw-in scenario. Alana's going to get a throw-in over here. And this happens a lot. So it's something that I really want us to talk about. Let's watch Alana's throw in. Let's watch our positioning. Okay. One of the three center midfielders that were, or actually anybody who plays center midfield, you don't have to be on the field right now. Somebody tell me, how about Naomi? Tell me about the positioning of our three midfielders. This is our 8, this is our 6, and this is our 10. How's our positioning, Naomi?
It's maybe the person on our team next to Kayla could be more up the field.
So you're saying Liv could be higher?
Yeah. So
Okay,
if Kayla gets the ball, she could just pass to Liv.
okay. What else? Any other ideas? Maddie, what else? Oh, Soph, go ahead. You want to talk?
I think that me, Georgina, and Maddie, or when Ella's the center attacking mid, we're like right next to each other, and like two people should go in and then one person should be balanced, and like we're not really making a triangle.
Correct.
So like we're like no one's really getting the ball because like we're in the same space.
Correct. So 5 yards away, maybe 10 yards away, probably 7 yards away. Would you agree that on a field that is about 65 yards wide and 120 yards long, that 5, 7, and 10 yards of distance between our center mids is not enough? Would we agree with that? Liv, does this seem tight in here for you?
Yeah.
It seems tight, right? So when we have all three of us in there, what else are we bringing with us?
The defenders.
We're bringing defenders with us, right? So let's just, I'm going to show you this situation here quickly. Let's see. Can you see my screen now? Do you see my PowerPoint? So I went out and just trust me for now that this is where everybody is on that last picture. When Alana has the ball to throw in, Kayla is here, right? Our number 10, which is Liv, our 6, which is Soph, our 8, which is Georgina. We have Kate here, Sam here, Allie here, Mia, etc. Okay, this is what we look like. This is very crowded. When we have the ball, do we want to be compact or do we want to be spread out?
Spread out.
Addie said we want to be spread out. Well, I don't know who said it, but Addie motioned it. I happened to be looking at you and you did that. We want to be spread out. We want to be, would we agree? We could look something like that. Do we agree? That's much bigger, right? And then if we did that, where would the defenders go? Probably something like this. Would we agree? Because it's one thing to be compact and tight in there and for the center mids to get caught up in there because we don't have the ball. It's not our throw in. Sometimes there's a tendency, and I could hear you completely, that if the 3 players that you're marking all go in close, then you go in close. Okay, I hear that argument. But this case, it's our ball. They're marking you. So if you go away, who else goes away? The defenders. You take them with you. Alana, are you there? Where's Alana?
Yeah.
Would this be an easier throw-in situation for you?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's more space between like the players and like
Exactly. So
here.
could you make an easier throw here? Do you think we could keep the ball? What's our chances of keeping the ball here? Where would you throw it? There's no wrong answer, no right answer. Where would you throw it, Alana?
Either to the 8 or to the 7.
Or to the 7, right? So Alana's going to decide to either go up the line and take her chances with our 7 or Kayla in this case in a 1v1. If she's got a big throw, maybe she can reach it to Mia, possible. Or she said she's going to throw it into the 8. And if that 8 is checking her shoulders and nose to keep the ball, what's probably going to happen is that the ball goes here. This person's going to check back. So either she can turn on them and go here and the 10 moves and then she plays it and now we're in. And then Pei, who's so patient up here, is screaming, running, and then Liv makes this beautiful pass into space and right? All that stuff happens, right? It's beautiful. Okay, but none of that can happen because we were in so tight. So we go from this to this. That's an ugly throw-in scenario. Let's not do this anymore. Does that make sense? Do we all see why? Abby, do you see why? You have to throw in a lot, right? You look at this a lot, don't you? It's not fun. That's a hard throw-in choice. Okay, let's go back. How much time do we have? Oh, I only have 10 minutes. We have some good goals to look at too. I don't want to just be critiquing you. Let us, okay. So we're going to get into a goal kick scenario, and that's another common one that I want to talk about. So they get the ball back and forth. Nobody has possession. I feel like I'm watching ping pong. That's actually a pretty good ball, but unfortunately, this outside girl doesn't really have much speed. So it runs across the end line and we get a goal kick. Let's watch our goal kick because we're going to talk about that. Oops, what the heck just happened? Sorry. Okay, Allie, you chose to play it to Kate. Can we go back for 1 second? Are we numbers up or numbers down anywhere on the field? I see 1 and 1 over here, pretty even. 1 and 1 over here, pretty even, pretty even. Kate's by herself, but this person's going to come in. So on this side of the field, we're pretty even. On this side of the field, 1 and 1 even, 1 and 1 even. This person could also go there, even, even. Okay, so there's no obvious numbers up, numbers down situation in terms of where to play this pass. So choosing to play to her number 4 or to her number 5, no problem. Either choice is fine. She chooses to play to Kate to her number 4 over on her right-hand side, and Kate gets the ball. Hey, Allie, what do you think about the weight of that pass?
It wasn't strong enough.
Nah, that was kind of weak. By the time that pass gets to poor Kate, she's already got somebody coming at her. However, nobody taught her how to run at her. Leah, are you there? Do you remember when we played Auburndale at Fort Totten and starting the second half, I told you how to go pressure them off of their goal kicks? Do you remember how I told you to go after the center back? Unmute yourself, Leah.
Yeah,
What did I tell you?
come in at an angle so it cuts off like passing to one person.
Correct. So what I told Leah to do, and what Mia also did in this game, but you don't see it here, is instead of, you see how this girl runs straight at Kate? Can Kate still go back to Allie if she wants to? She can. Kate still has Alana as an option, or turning and she can go right back to Allie if she wanted to, because this girl is like running straight at her. What I told Leah to do is to run at her at an angle to like kind of come up the field first, closer to the goalie, and then come at her this way. Why? Because that takes away a whole half of the field. And now the center back can only play to this side. And if we do a good job high pressing, if this person steps, and this person steps, then the center back has no options. Okay, fortunately, they didn't really do that to us. So Kate actually had more than one option. But watch what happens here. Georgina, I want you to tell me about your run. How's that run from you? I can't hear you, you're muted.
I was trying to like check in for Kate, but then like the defender cut the angle off.
So you ran parallelly behind the defender, right?
Yeah.
So are you in a passing lane? You're trying to be, but are you in one?
No.
No. So Kate, can you see Can you get the ball to Georgina here?
No, she can't because
She
Yeah.
can't, right? So the center mids are supposed to help to connect us left to right, back to front, right? You're trying. I agree fully that you're trying. Let's just remember this. As the center mid, the 6 oftentimes is the one playing this role. If it had gone over here, Sophia would have been doing it. The same exact thing would have happened the opposite direction. Okay. Let's remember this. If you can play, let me show you this. I think I have this as a drawing. So the ball gets played like this. This is where everybody is on the field. The ball gets played over there, and Georgina makes this run. And unfortunately, she's not in a passing lane because this player, the defender, is there. Okay. However,
I feel like one thing I would be worried about making that run is Kate accidentally playing it to the girl on the top of the 18 box. Or
right.
like turning and then the defender gets it.
So here's the run that we could make instead. What about this run? What if you did that? And you don't have to go so far up, but my point is, you, whoever is the center mid on that side, when the ball gets played to your side, almost always the center striker is going to come running at the center back. You want to run against the grain. Why? Because if you run with the grain, you will never be in a passing lane. They will take it away the whole time and you won't even mean for that to happen. If you run opposite, you're going to be in a lane. So you don't have to be this far, probably bad drawing by me. You should probably be coming to like here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That becomes a really easy option. And then Kate has option to her right, option to her left, and actually even another one because Allie is certainly an option back again. And then where are we numbers up and where are we numbers down on the field right now?
We're numbers up by Ella, the 3 and the 11.
Yep.
And maybe
This whole half of the field, right? The whole from here all the way up here, we are 5v2. If you include this person, we're 5v3 up here. But basically, if we can find any way to get the ball against the grain back over to the other side from where we started, we're going to be numbers up. Does that make sense? And you can play a really critical role in that. So Georgina and Soph, if you run against the grain, so the ball is coming from your right to your left as you're looking back, if you run against the grain, opposite, almost every time you're going to be in a wide open space at the top of the box. Does that make sense? Almost every time. And that'll give Kate some more options. Kate, I'd love to see, because this girl didn't cut your options off though, I would have loved to see you be able to just have the composure to play right back to Allie, and Allie can clip us. She can get it to Soph. She can keep going out wide to Sam, right? We have a lot of options. So instead, we just kind of ended up going out of bounds with it over here, and I'm running out of time. So let's just go quickly. How about we look at, I have a lot more. We could do this again some more. Let me show you one fun goal. By the way, here was our first time. It was our first time actually getting into their half. So it's 4 minutes into the game. First time we get up and into their half with any sort of meaningful thing because we put ourselves under pressure. And here's that case, Kayla, where I want you to go straight to goal. We ended up going straight down and making a really nice cross, right? But here's where I'd love to see you drive at goal, and then this girl would be behind you. But instead, you go straight down and make a nice cross. It's a beautiful cross. It's just a hard one to match because everybody was kind of running abreast of each other, right? So that was a really nice way to penetrate. And then I want to show you one more thing because it was pretty awesome. Should we look at a goal? Let's see the goal. Oh no, Georgina, I want to talk to you about this one because this happens so much. Watch this. You tell me. So you just got fouled at the top of the box. Do you remember this?
I don't want to talk about this. It went like 15.
No, we're not going to even talk about your kick. Tell me, somebody tell me right now, look at this. So the goalkeeper's trying to set up their wall. They don't really have a wall. We've got Kayla's ready. Liv is ready. Who's this? Can't tell. No, this is Kate. Kate's ready. Liv is ready. Kayla's ready. They got a person back here keeping us on side. What's stopping you from just taking a nice shot here?
Because I asked for yards.
You hadn't yet. At this point, you hadn't. You
Oh,
do
I'm
though.
so smart. I do that in practice all the time. I don't know why I don't do it in games.
Yeah. So let's be smart. There's some times where, and this is for everybody, right? Maddie's taking these, Soph is taking these. Some refs aren't very good, but the good ones are going to let you play quickly if you want to play quickly. Okay, they're going to get out of your way. And the only time you have to wait for their whistle is if you ask them to count out the 10 yards for you. If you don't ask for the 10 yards, you have every right to take that kick as quickly as you'd like, regardless of whether the goalie is over here on her post, setting up her wall, telling them where to go, or whatever. I like my chances in this situation a lot better than I like my chances once they've set up a 4 or a 5 person wall in front of me. Here, this person's keeping everybody on side. Like, I like that situation. Go ahead and have one. Or even just play a pass in for Kate's ready to go. Kayla's ready to go. Like, I don't know if there's nice lanes here, but my point is if we're not going to take it, that's fine. We don't need to take it fast. But I want us to be a smart team who we recognize and know that there are times we definitely can take it fast. Whether that's a shot or whether it is just a situation on the field where sometimes you get fouled and all of a sudden you can play the ball into somebody and we're off to the races running, right? And just quickly play. So the ball has to stop. That's the only rule. The ball has to come to a complete stop. So oftentimes you show the referee that by putting your hand on it, tapping it, and then quickly playing, whether you're taking a shot or whether you're playing a pass, okay? So I want to just be smart about that. And then last thing, let's look at a goal here. We'll look at both goals. Here's the first goal that got scored. So this is off of a punt. Everybody drops very nicely. Georgina receives kind of into Mia. Mia lays it off. Georgina goes, slips it in. She draws the defender, slips it in. Kayla one touches, boom, in the corner. Well done. Yay. Okay, next one. Let's look at the next goal just because. Here we go. I think similar situation. This is on a goal kick though. They play it. Mia goes in. She pressures. Is it Mia? I can't tell. She pressures. Somebody pressures them. Who is this? Soph fighting. Plays Georgina. Bang. Corner. Well done. Okay. So I told you I just keep it for 90 minutes. There's actually plenty more that I could go over that we have for other moments. We could talk about when to go long on goal kicks. We could talk about where to be on punts. We can talk about high to high press. We can talk about drawing the PK. We actually had one here that we decided to kind of just play through anyway. There was a time where there was kind of a lack of effort where we didn't get back and they almost had a goal scoring opportunity. There was some more decisions to talk about in possession, lots of stuff, but I hope that this helped you. And I want to just kind of quickly summarize. So just quickly, why it's important, right? We want to be able to analyze a game while we're in the midst of it, before a game maybe, or after the fact to learn from it. So when you're watching VO afterward, you're looking for situations like that, not just watching the game to watch it like you'd watch it on TV, but you're looking at yourself, pausing it. Could I have done something else? Did I check my shoulder? Do I know where the space is? Did I drive? What are the things that I did? Right? So that's how you want to analyze the game. What are the clues to reading the game, right? We talked about some of those formations and tactics, right? So how are they lined up in the different scenarios, both in possession, on defense, and in transition, right? Then the questions that we ask, we talk about, are we able to defend and get the ball back? Are we penetrating into the attacking third? Are we creating scoring chances? And are we finishing, right? And then we talked about the various parts of the field. We talked about the position numbers. Maybe we'll start to refer to those in practice a little bit more, so you have to learn them. We talked about all the various formations, how to play a high line, right? And why to do that, numbers up and numbers down. That's questions that we want to ask ourselves all over the field, right? So what are the 3 P priorities again? Jaya, do you remember what was the first priority when you get the ball? You're muted.
The first one was like scoring.
Right, put the ball in the net. Exactly. Maddie, what's the second priority? If you can't put the ball in the net, then do what? What's the second P?
Penetrate.
Penetrate, get up the field. And then Addie, what's the third priority? If you can't penetrate, then what?
Possess.
Possess
the ball.
But did you say possess? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, possess, right? So if you can't penetrate, then you possess, right? So those are our priorities on the ball, right? We talked about various game moments and kickoffs and all of those fun things, right? And that was it. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. We could do it again another time if you want. We could finish looking at the game. There's lots to watch on that. We hardly watched the game actually, but I felt like some of that basic stuff was really good for everybody to kind of learn and make sure that we're all on the same page. Is that helpful? It was long though, right? Sorry,
Yes.
longer than any of your classes. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks, guys. Have a good night, okay?
Have the best night. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.